Why do rich people often buy the expensive version of something and still end up paying less than everyone else? Because they are usually not buying the thing itself. They are buying what the thing prevents. Most people look at price like it's the whole story. One number, one decision, expensive means costly, cheap means smart. End of discussion. But that's only true if the only cost that matters is the one printed on the tag. And that's where the illusion starts. Because in the real world, price is just the entry fee. Cost is what happens after you own it. Cost is repair, replacement, downtime, bad timing, lost focus, hidden risk, poor resale, cheap materials, weak service, friction. You only notice after the purchase is already over. Most people buy objects. Wealthy people often buy outcomes. That's the first layer most people miss. Take a simple example. A man buys a cheap watch for $500. 5 years later, it's scratched, outdated, maybe dead, maybe replaced twice. Its resale value is basically zero. The money is gone. A wealthy buyer spends $12,000 on a watch that seems absurdly overpriced. But 5 years later, that watch can still be worth 10, 11, maybe even more depending on the market. He didn't spend $12,000 in the way most people imagine. He parked capital inside an object that also gave him use, identity, and liquidity. Most people think one person bought a watch and the other bought a more expensive watch. In reality, one person bought a consumer product. The other bought a wearable store of value. That doesn't happen in every category, but it happens in more categories than people realize. The rich are constantly asking a different question. Not, how much does it cost, but how much disappears? That is a completely different lens. A cheap item often looks cheaper because the hidden losses are pushed into the future. The material weakens later. The repair shows up later. The replacement happens later. The inconvenience arrives later. The resale disappointment hits later. The regret comes later. Cheap things are often not cheap. They are just delayed. And wealthy people are trained to notice delayed costs because that's how money quietly leaks out of a system. Now go one level deeper. Expensive things often come with invisible infrastructure, better service, faster repair, stronger warranty, priority treatment, better financing terms, better durability, more reliable performance, a cleaner exit if you want out. That means the rich are not always paying for luxury. Sometimes they are paying to transfer risk back to the seller, and that is a very different move. A cheap product often makes the buyer absorb all the uncertainty. If it breaks, that's your problem. If support is slow, your time gets taxed. If the quality is inconsistent, you carry that volatility. If resale is weak, you eat the loss. The purchase looked cheap because the risk was hidden inside it. The expensive version often does the opposite. It absorbs volatility. It protects time. It protects reputation. It protects optionality. It may even preserve capital. So the rich are not doing what it looks like. They are not simply spending more. They are often buying a lower variance life. And for people operating at scale, variance is expensive. Imagine two founders. One buys the cheapest equipment, the cheapest legal help, the cheapest accountant, the cheapest contractor, the cheapest software stack. On paper, he looks disciplined, lean, cost-conscious. The other spends more upfront on people and tools that are reliable, fast, and proven. On paper, he looks extravagant. Then reality starts billing them. The first founder gets delays, errors, rework, bad contracts, compliance issues, lost nights, lost momentum, constant interruptions. Every saving creates another decision, another fix, another fire. The second founder pays more once and thinks about it less. Systems hold, problems show up earlier, execution stays smoother, attention stays on high-value decisions. Who paid less? If you only look at invoices, the first one did. If you look at total economic damage, the second one probably did by a mile. That is the deeper mechanism. Most people count money that leaves their bank account. The wealthy also count attention, optionality, and interruption. Because those things compound. A cheap decision that steals 1 hour is not just one lost hour. It breaks focus. It delays other decisions. It creates emotional drag. It lowers quality somewhere else. It increases the chance of another mistake. The rich understand something most people are never taught. Money is not the only scarce asset. Clean decision-making is scarce. Energy is scarce. Credibility is scarce. Time in a high-leverage state is scarce. And expensive things, when chosen well, often protect those assets better than cheap things ever could. This is why ordinary buyers and elite buyers can look at the exact same object and see two completely different realities. Most people look at the sticker price. Powerful people look at the ownership structure of the purchase. Will it hold value? Will it reduce friction? Will it save time? Will it improve access? Will it lower future uncertainty? Will it be easier to sell than to keep? Will it make other parts of life more efficient? That's the real battlefield, not price, system cost. And this is where it gets even more interesting. The rich also have access to markets where expensive things are built differently in the first place. In lower-end markets, many products are designed for churn. Fast replacement, weak resale, emotional buying, constant upgrading. The item is made to leave your balance sheet and never come back. In higher-end markets, the incentives can change. Authenticity matters more. Service matters more. Longevity matters more. Scarcity matters more. Secondary markets are stronger. Reputation is part of the product. Exit value matters. Sometimes even financing gets easier because the asset quality is clearer. So two people can both buy expensive things, but one is entering a consumption trap while the other is entering a value preservation system. That's why expensive things often cost the rich less. Not because the universe gives them a discount, because they know how to buy in markets where money can come back out. And here's the crazy part. Once you start seeing this, you realize the gap is not just about purchasing power, it's about perception. A lot of middle-income and poor buyers are forced into markets that punish ownership. They buy the version that breaks faster, costs more to finance, has worse terms, and can't be resold for much. The system makes them pay repeatedly for low-quality access. Meanwhile, wealthy buyers often get to step into markets where the expensive choice is actually the more stable choice. Better rates, better service, better exit liquidity, better durability, better reputation protection, fewer hidden penalties. So the real divide is not only who can afford more, it's who gets to play in systems where value is preserved instead of extracted. That is a brutal distinction. Because it means cheap is not always a bargain. Sometimes cheap is just a product designed for people who cannot afford mistakes. And those are the people the system charges hardest for mistakes. This is why a wealthy buyer can spend $10,000 and lose $1,000, while somebody else spends $1,000 5 times and loses all 5. One person bought a depreciating inconvenience. The other bought controlled exposure. That pattern shows up everywhere. In clothing, in neighborhoods, in legal advice, in tools, in education, in health, in private deals, in relationships with service providers, in transportation, in real estate, even in something as invisible as trust. The wealthy often pay more to avoid being forced into reactive decisions later. And reactive decisions are where people bleed money. That does not mean every expensive thing is smart. Plenty of rich people waste money. Plenty of luxury products are just overpriced theater. Plenty of status purchases are pure ego with no strategic value behind them. But the serious players are not fooled by labels. They know the difference between expensive and costly. Expensive means the entry price is high. Costly means the total damage is high. Those are not the same thing. And once you understand that, a lot of elite behavior stops looking irrational. The rich are not always trying to spend less money today. They are trying to lose less value over time. They are not asking, can I get this cheaper? They are asking, what is the cheapest way to own this without paying for it twice? That is a far more dangerous question. Because once you start thinking that way, you stop admiring low prices by default. You start looking for hidden leakage. You start noticing where the bargain is fake. You start seeing that some products are cheap because they offload risk onto you, and some expensive products are powerful because they keep risk away from you. That is the hidden operating system behind the contradiction. Most people think the rich buy expensive things because they like luxury. In reality, the smartest ones often buy expensive things because they hate hidden costs. That's why they don't ask, "What's the price?" They ask, "What will this cost me to own, to maintain, to replace, to exit, and what part of my life does it quietly protect?" That is how expensive starts becoming cheaper, and that is how money starts looking completely different once you stop looking at the first number. Follow for more videos on how money really works.